Hello, it's Jane again, and guess where I am? Back at the kitchen table. Even though at the end of my last video I said that this video would be a tour of the plot, it's so blooming cold. I went up there this morning to get some pots and bits and bobs for what I'm about to do, and it was so cold the ice had frozen in the log, so I had to, it was like a little drop of frozen ice actually where you put the key in, so I had to bash that with the edge of the key to try and get that bit off. Then I'm standing there blowing on it, bent over, blowing on the lock, trying to defrost it so I could get the key in. I'm so glad there was no one around. Well, at least I hope there was no one around. It was really quite nice. I did a little video, I put it up on the Facebook page, of just how still it was, because it's like this, it's cleared a lot now. I mean, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon now, but at 10 o'clock this morning it was like this curtain of freezing fog, and it seemed to muffle everything in the same way that snow does, and so the sounds that you could hear were muffled, and mainly while I was up there all I could hear was birds. And I don't know, I'm saying muffled, there was a bit of an echo. Can you have an echoed muffle? An echoed muffle? I don't know. Anyway, it's a bit cold, so I'm back in here to do something ever so slightly different. And this week I will give great thanks and a shout out to B. Jackson, who again has influenced me by sowing her sweet peas and putting a photograph of it again on the Facebook page, which has made me think, oh, I best get mine started. Not that we're in a rush to get anything started at all, but if I tell you, my sweet peas last year were, again, with the whole situation being what it was, I didn't think we'd be able to get up to the allotment last year. And by the time I'd realised we could, and it was made clear that we could visit allotments, I was very late planting a lot of things. So by the time my sweet peas had started to come up, I mean, they were flowering in about July and they kept going for a good few months, but it was a bit late and they were straggly, and yeah, they weren't the best. So having seen Bee's picture, and her comment was that she'd had the same thing last year, they were straggly, didn't really come to much, I've decided to do a sowing now. So where are we now? Mid-January, and then keep some seeds back and do another sowing. We'll see how these seedlings get on, if they become seedlings. Do another sowing maybe end of February, mid-March. You know, it might be that they all catch up with each other, we don't know, but I'm certainly not advocating rush in and get all your seeds planted now, because that can lead to straggly plants. So I'm going to show you what my seeds are, tell you where they're from, what I have done to prepare them or not, what I'm going to plant them in, and how I'm going to look after them. Okay, where shall I start? Okay, the seeds that I've actually got are seeds I had left over from last year, which are my summer sizzler. I'll show you these. They sort of blend into my top a little bit, don't they? Summer sizzler, can you see those? The light's bouncing off them a little bit. Really, really quite rich. I suppose that's why they're called summer sizzler, aren't they? Really rich flowers. Which one did I take them out of? Oh, crikey. Now you see, I'm going to have to rewrite this and come back to you, because that was the label for the pot. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Oh dear me, will I ever learn? I've sat on my mic again. Will I ever learn? I had to rewind to see where I got them from. So, see, that's how easy it is to get things mixed up. And the thing is, I got 2 separate pots as well, different shapes, so I wouldn't get the 2 pots mixed up. Take that away, I don't know what's going on. So I've got those there, I'll talk about these in a minute. And I've also got saved seed from last year, which, you know what, this is the beauty of saved seed. If you go to the garden centre, you're paying 2 or 3 quid, maybe a bit more sometimes for saved seed, for seed, sweet peas, And you know, these are just ones that I saved. Now my microphone's fallen out. Here we go. And they, you can see, are as good as any seed you're going to get from the shop. The only issue is, I just know these were all the sweet peas that I sowed, and I had a mix of some are sizzler. I had some that a neighbour had passed on to me the previous year, which sort of this sort of colour. I'll put a picture in here. Okay, and so they're a mix. I don't really know how they'll come up at all, but I've got those. So they're the seeds I'm going to do. I don't know the names of those at all. And in fact, you know, after sowing all these really bright ones last year, I went to a neighbour's, I visited a neighbour's garden back in the summer when we were allowed to actually go into people's gardens. And she had a display of the most beautiful, ruffled, pastel colour sweet peas. And I thought to myself, that's it, this year I'm going to do those colours. Because I'm like a cuckoo. I'm so easily influenced by what other people do. I'm constantly thinking, that's a good idea, that's a good idea. And I think that's great, and I encourage you to all do the same. But yeah, not one pastel sweet pea to be seen. These are what I've got. These are what I'm going to use this year anyway. But yeah, one of the main things, and I will get on to showing you the rest in a minute, but one of the main things I grow sweet peas for is to bring them in the house. The smell to me is summer. And much as, and this is why I've brought these here, these aren't out of my garden, although soon I know that in the UK, we have grass verges lined with these, and most people who've got gardens have got one or two dafts dotted about here and there. But when I saw these in the shops, I mean, they're really weak and straggly, I had to get them because the smell, it's just spring. That smell just makes you realise there are really good things to come. So yeah, so I like my smelly dafts in the spring, and I like my smelly sweet peas in the summer. So okay, I've got, they're my seeds, that's why I'm doing them. What else did I tell you I was going to do? I'll show you what I'm growing them in. Okay, various different methods. What you've got to think of with your sweet pea is it's got, as with peas, a long root run. Mike's just coming in now. I'll come back.
Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, I've got you over here and I've got the tripod on the table now, which looks a bit wonky, so looks like I'm rolling down a hill. Never mind. Okay, things you can plant your sweet peas in. As I say, they have got a long root run, so the taller the pot that you can put them in, the better. You wouldn't, for example, and I haven't got an example. Oh, here we are, I've got my onion seeds. These are something I have actually got in. My onions. And my sweet peppers, okay, because they have got a long germination period. Oh, that looks like something might be coming. Right, okay, you wouldn't want to plant your sweet peas in something like that. It's too shallow, okay, and you do want your roots to go down vertically as much as you can. Sorry, oh, a little technical issue there. That's where the propagator's plugged in. Okay, so what you can do, and what a lot of people do, is reuse your toilet roll innards, which is absolutely brilliant to do. You can do it either just like that in some sort of, obviously in a seed tray, jam them all together, fill them all up, or as I did last year, I haven't got my scissors with me, have I? I'll bring my scissors later. Snip the edges, one edge, fold that under so you've got more of a pot so it can stand on its own. So you can use that. Similarly, you can use the innard of your kitchen roll. Same thing. You don't need it that big, but you get two for the price of one. Okay. Or, and these are specifically for things like peas, sweet peas, anything that needs a long root run. You've got these things called root trainers. Now, I do apologise that they've got bits of roots on them. It does prove they've been used, but they haven't been washed since last year. And the beauty of these, you get, I don't know, how many's here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that, that's actually got onion peel in it. the beauty of these is you get 5 of them. In fact, there's probably more in the greenhouse, and you sit them, they fit perfectly in a tray. You fill the individual compartments. There's like a propagator lid goes over the top, and then when you are ready to pot on, you can just open them up like that, and hopefully you will have a really nice plug plant that you will not have to disturb the roots of too much, ready to pot on. They are lovely. However, I used those last year. I wasn't that impressed, but like I say, I wasn't impressed with my sweet peas last year. What I am going to do this year, and I'm not bothered about getting soil on the table because it'll wipe off. It'll wipe off. What I'm going to do this year, because these are going to be in for a long time, I am just going to use standard, what are they, 3-inch pots? I mean, they are the same height, if not a bit taller than a root trainer, but I'm going to show you a top tip, which again, I've stolen from someone else, which I'll tell you about in a minute. I'll show you a way that I am going to divide these to make it the equivalent to 4 root trainers. Okay, so I'm going to fill these up, set them up, and then show you how we're going to do that little root trainer top tip. Oh, I've relented and put a little cloth on the table because not only have I got soil all over the table, if I show you here, I've got soil in my tea. It's a little bit like, you know, getting sand in your picnic at the beach, but yeah, it'll still be hot and warm, so I'll have that in a minute. Okay, now what I'm going to show you now is very much taken. Oh, there's my scissors. I was looking for the other ones. Okay, I've got these ones now. Very much stolen from the lovely Paul Savadant over on Richard and... Oh, there go the sweet pea seeds. How did they get out of... Oh, you little villains. Oh my goodness. Right, I'll be back. Okay, do you think other YouTubers have got the same sort of issues as me? Oh no, you better not answer that. Or do you think they edit it out? Anyway, look, this is what I've got so far. So I have filled my square pots with soil. I've then put them in a little tray and I've watered them. So what we've got here is damp soil. I'm not going to flatten, they're flat enough. One thing I will say about the pots, you may have noticed when I held them up that they have not been scrubbed to within an inch of their lives. They have very much come out of the greenhouse as they went in at the end of the season last year. In other words, I haven't washed them. So if you look here, you can see, I mean, it's not bad, is it? There goes my mic again. Okay, can you see? So, yeah. And the reason I don't worry about washing them too much anymore is because I was given a book by Charles Dowding, and I think it's called something like Gardening Myths Demystified. And it says basically, it's a bit of a myth washing your pots, unless you've had some sort of soil infection or disease in your soil the previous year. All you're doing is washing off perfectly good soil. So, you know, as long as they're reasonably clean, obviously you're not going to have them clagged in clay. So they're okay. Yes, but this tip is directly associated to Paul, so I will put a link wherever it goes up to Paul's video. If you don't see one at the top now, it'll be in the comments below at the end, because it means I haven't been able to do it properly. And as ever, I haven't tried it yet myself, but I'm going to give it a go. I will say one thing, Paul did not use a plastic milk bottle. He used cardboard, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So basically, shall I use the other scissors? Let's see if these work. Right, all you need to do, I mean, actually, you know what? I know a lot of people have said about using milk bottles for labels, reusing them, use them as planters, use them as, if I show you in a minute. Hold on, come on Jane, get that straight. I'm just going right. It's like cutting your fringe, isn't it? You keep cutting a little bit more off. Right, that'll do. Yeah, cut strips. I'll do it here. I'll do it here. You can cut strips out of them and make your own labels. I'm not doing it very well. That's because I've never actually done it before, but apparently it's good. So I'll discard that bit for now. Yeah, well, whatever size label you want. 1, 2, 3. You've got nice labels you can stick in your pots and reuse. Top tip number 1. Right, you all know that anyway. Oh yeah, use that bit without that hole in as a propagator, because you've got a little bit of air at the top. If I show you again, I'm going down here. My propagator lid has got this so that once the seedlings start to show, I can open that and let some air in, so it's not all going to go mouldy. However, if it does go mouldy, or one thing to stop it going mouldy, or I'll come back onto that later, I'll tell you that later on. Okay, so you can use that bit of your milk bottle as well. But what I liked is this. Cut a piece. I'm not Blue Peter, am I? Cut a piece the same width as your pot. So all I'm doing, it doesn't have to be exact, it's just as well it doesn't have to be exact, because it won't be. Okay, a bit like that. I don't think John Noakes had this sort of problem. Right, okay, one piece like that. Cut another piece, let me just check. That's about the right width, yeah? You can see that. Cut another piece, the same. About there. Pretty much the same. Like I say, it's not a science. Certainly not a science with me. About the depth of your pot as well, doesn't matter if it's not. Yeah. Can you imagine, you know, I've done all the health and safety training about carrying scissors, and here's me wandering around with these the wrong way up. Right, okay, so now I've got, where's it gone? There. 2 bits, roughly the same size, okay? They're both going to fit in there. What I'm going to do now, and Paul did this with card, is just cut a little slit down the middle. Are you starting to get the idea now? So now we've got 2 little pairs of plastic trousers, like that. And if this works, it'll be great. You could do this before you put the soil in, but the idea I thought with doing it with plastic is that you can just push it into the soil. This isn't very wet, this soil. I'm going to wet it again when I've done it. Okay, so you've got that one in there, like that. And guess where the other one's going to go? That way. And so that slit will go over the top of the other one. It should just slot nicely over the top. You know what? I can't believe this is actually working. Can you hear next door neighbour's dog? I think he's commenting. I think he's saying, isn't Paul clever? Right, okay. And what you've got there, roughly, bulk it up with, you know what, I'm going to put more soil in that. You've got 4 separate areas. Now, they're not going to be that deep. Okay, I would say that now comes down to about there, but it will mean that when you take your seeds out, you are not going to have to disentangle, well, say 4 seeds, but you know, if you've got more seeds in than there, you're not going to have them all tangled in with each other. The roots, the tops of the roots at the very least, are going to be nice and separate. Now, when Paul did his with card, it was very much so that you could plant them out with the card would rot in the soil, which is a brilliant idea. Or that the card would just, you know, rot into the compost. Great idea, but I just want something to keep them. I don't want it rotting in the soil. It's going to be in there. With this being mid-January, these are going to be in for quite a long time before they get transplanted. So I want that to be fairly stable. Okay, and that's it. That's what you do. Although, if anything like me, oh look, you can get 2, can't you? I've just got that wet. You can get 2 out of a pot. So let's just do another one quickly and pop it in. I just want to show you what I'm going to do with the sweet peas themselves. I'm going to go for the summer sizzler to start with, which is this one, Jane. Don't forget this one. Okay, I'll keep those to one side. And if I show you what I've done with these, excuse me, they have been in water overnight. And this just helps them to swell up a little bit. And I haven't looked yet, but they should be ever so slightly bigger than their dry counterparts. So let's see if I can do this without making a mess. What are the odds? Okay, there's 1, 2 there. Okay, yeah. I mean, not only are they dark and shiny because they've been wetted, but if you look at the difference there, especially that little one there, they're quite a bit different. And this just helps them with the germination process, because one of the problems with peas and sweet peas is they're quite hard to germinate. So, because they've got a very hard outer shell. So what we're going to do is compare, as the season goes on, which come up first. So I am just going to literally, how many have I got in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12. So I'm going to put, let's have a look. Yeah, I'll put 4 in each of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put 6 in each of these because I want the dried ones in the others. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's only 5 there anyway. I've probably dropped one. Okay. So those are in there. Oh, you'll like this. Where are they? I've even written the labels already. How good am I? Look, this is why I've got this tissue, this towel here. Let's have a look. Okay, so Summer Sizzler Soaked. There's a mouthful. And the date. Summer Sizzler Soaked. And I haven't put any in that one. So then, in these ones, I'm just going to put the dried ones. And we'll just keep an eye on them and see what happens first. In theory, these should come first because they've already had a helping hand. Another way that you can encourage them to germinate that little bit faster is by just scratching the outer surface of the shell. So I haven't got anything here to help me do it, but it makes sense. You just the outside of your sweet pea, same with peas, same with anything. Either you can nick it with a knife very, very carefully, or you could use the side of a matchbox, a bit of sandpaper, a nail file, whatever you've got to hand, just to help it break through the hard outer shell. Now look, I've got too many here, but that's fine because I'm going to keep some of these back for later sowing. As it is, I've got what, 1, 2, I'll have about 3 left. I think I've just put one in that one. Just put one in that one. Might be too many in there. Okay, so I will keep these back. Whatever you do though, and I've learned this through experience, do not leave them to soak for too long. Mike soaked his peas at the allotment last year and forgot about them, and we went back a few days later, and well, it's put me off mushy peas forever. So right, okay, Summer Sizzler unsoaked, Summer Sizzler unsoaked. Oh, look, handy. I'm just going to put S, oh, it won't work with that. Okay, SSU, I will know what to do, she says, famous last words. Okay, and that's it. I'm going to top those up, give them another little drink. What I'll do is put the water in the tray now, because I've had a top watering, if you like. I'll put the water in the tray, top those up, and I'll come back to you again. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm in some sort of investigation. One of the disadvantages of filming at this time of year, so in January, is it goes dark so blooming quickly. And even if it's not dark, I mean, it hasn't been particularly bright at all day. We've had this lingering fog. It's very dismal. So I've got this screaming flashlight just there. Oh my goodness me, you'll be able to tell if I'm lying, won't you? I'll be blushing. Okay, so that's it, yeah. These are my early sweet peas. As I said earlier, you know, don't be under any sort of pressure. I know what it's like when you see other people start putting their seeds in, you start thinking, oh, I've got to catch up, I've got to do mine. Don't be under any sort of pressure to get your seeds in yet, because it's really not the time yet. The only reason I am doing these this early is because I've got plenty of seed. I was late last year, so I felt like they could have done better. And yeah, I'm going to do it again in sort of end of February, March anyway. So if these don't come to anything, fine, I'll do them again. I won't be saying fine, I'll be getting really cross, but you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, something will happen. All I'm going to do with them now, again, if you read about looking after your sweet peas anywhere, and if you have got some, sorry, that's really making me blink. If you have got some that are very precious to you, or you've paid a lot of money for them, yes, you will be wanting to follow the instructions down to a T, especially if you haven't done it before. But because these, as I say, are ones that I had, I'm not doing anything special with them. I'm not going to cover them. Oh, Jane, you need to put a lid on to help them warm and propagate. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to treat them tough. I'm just going to put them in a light place, a frost-free place. So basically it'll be the windowsill in the front room. And these fit perfectly on windows, these little trays. And then just keep an eye on them. That's all I can do. I'm so sorry. It's a fair cop officer. Yeah, just keep an eye on them, see what they do. When they do start to come up, if they start to come up, just keep watering them, keep them warm, look after them. But if you do find, one of the reasons I'm very, very wary about covering things like with a propagator lid or whatever, I know I showed you my onions earlier that are just under my chair and they've got the propagator lids on. Well, I'll show you now. You'll notice that because these are sitting on a propagator, you have warmth coming from underneath. You can feel that's a lovely temperature. These are being very mollycoddled. These are my onions. But you can see that with that being covered, you've got the condensation in there. Microphone again. The condensation in there. Okay. And what that can lead to, let me just check this is still on. I'm still plugged in. What that can lead to is like a fungus on top of the soil, which you don't want. So if you've got this sort of issue, or if you do want to put some lids of some sort over the top of your pots to help them germinate along, or cling film, or anything like that really, you can help to fight any fungal issues by sprinkling some cinnamon on, which when I heard about that first time round I thought it was absolutely nuts, but since I've done it I've had no problem with any fungal issues, you'd be glad to know. So yeah, if you are considering covering them, do consider the soil getting too moist and warm, and it's the perfect breeding ground then for fungus if any gets in. Okay, but that's it for now. I am going to go. This is supposed to be a short video. It's gone dark again. Yeah, I will be back at some point quite soon with a plot tour, but I'm going to wait for it to warm up a little bit first. So hope you're all well. All the contact details are beneath. Facebook, Instagram, email, it's all down there. And yeah, let me know what you're up to in the comments below. I'll see you soon. Bye.